One word, but I'm going to say it 3 times. Jobs, jobs, jobs. That's what the newspapers are talking about today here in France. Nick Rushworth.
Stuart, it's on the front page of all the papers, and I'm going to start out with the left-wing daily, Libération, which has that title there, La gauche réembauche, which translates as the left, la gauche, réembauche, hiring, so a rehiring. Now, what's happening is that the government yesterday announced that it would go back to 15 years ago to the times of Lionel Jospin when he was Prime Minister of France, Socialist Prime Minister, and he decided to introduce state-subsidized jobs for people under 25. And this is on the agenda again. It's going to happen. 50,000 jobs will be created. They're being called jobs for the future. Now, the editorial in Libé is saying, well, that's to do with the French anomaly, which is that there's a higher rate of unemployment for young people in France compared to neighboring countries. So this is important for France. But at the same time, criticism again from Libé of the socialists saying it lacks ambition. This is not enough to deal with the problem.
And actually, you would think they would be very keen on this, but the hard-left paper, L'Humanité, they don't seem that keen on it either.
Well, L'Humanité, there it has this title there, L'avenir de l'emploi durable. C'est l'emploi durable, which is the future for jobs. It's not about creating these small measures. It's actually creating lasting, durable, if you like, jobs. So the photo there in the front shows a young woman with a placard saying, how can I manage to live on €1,000 a month? One of the central problems is that there are lots of short-term contracts for young people in France. Now, the editorial in that paper is saying, well, we do welcome this move, but what we want is actually to see the unions really monitoring it to make sure that conditions about working conditions for young people are maintained. So there's a slight welcome there, but not too negative.
There is some more negativity, though, in Le Figaro, perhaps not surprisingly, the right newspaper.
Well, you'd expect that, wouldn't you? It's got here a picture of François Hollande on the front page, and the title there is that he's going ahead with state-supported jobs, and the editorial is not kind, saying that, well, these are actually fictional jobs. They're helped by the state, the finance to the tune of 75%. It'll cost the government €1.5 billion, and the very, very critical in the editorial there. It's saying, come on, you don't want to invent jobs. You want to actually create jobs based on what companies really want. You have to give companies the incentives they need so they'll hire young people.
OK, well, it's all about social issues today. This one's about housing, in fact. It's the top story in Le Parisien, or Aujourd'hui en France, as it's also known.
Yes, there's a kind of, again, it shows a picture of a younger person in a bit of dire straits, really, looking forlornly at the notices for housing and flats and so on. Now, French people, when they're young, they don't actually do room share like you would in the States or in the UK. We're about to go into the university season, of course, and the reporter has tested how difficult it is to go out and find a small studio. You've got maybe you have maybe, say, an allowance of €1,000 a month. But a studio in Paris, for example, you wouldn't get anything less than €700. You've got
doesn't leave you much to live on, does it?
Well, no, it doesn't add up, does it? Yeah, I mean, you've got to include the bills, your living costs. I mean, you're in dire trouble. So the reporter there, he squeezed his way into a cubicle there. You can see that horrendous queue for flats in Paris. Wow. He squeezed himself into a tiny shower cubicle, was told about all the costs, including the parental guarantee that he has to get from his mum and dad. And he said at the end of that story, he says, I'm giving up. Of course, the reporter perhaps in a better situation than the young people. And still with that paper, just one last look at a craze that stopped. Yesterday we talked about a craze that's perhaps beginning, the going barefoot in Paris. But the same paper, the same feature is talking about the craze for chewing gum in Paris is over. There's been a decline, 6% in the last few years. And so if you come to Paris, you perhaps won't be treading in chewing gum, but maybe you will be in dog mail.
It's a career that isn't over. It's a story that isn't over. It's a story that's burst, Nick. That's the one. Nick Rushworth of the French newspapers here on France 24. Stay with us.